I stared at the mahogany urn on the mantelpiece, still not quite believing Sarah was inside it. 42 years of marriage, and it had come down to this, a decorative container on a shelf in our Boston townhouse. The afternoon light caught the brass nameplate, and I had to look away. That's when my phone buzzed. My grandson. "Hey, Gramps. How are you holding up?" I almost smiled. Marcus was 26, sharp as a tack, worked in finance downtown. He'd always been Sarah's favorite. Managing, son. Taking it one day at a time. That's good. Listen, I wanted to run something by you. Chelsea and I were talking, about how lonely that big house must be now that Grandma's gone. Chelsea, his girlfriend of 8 months. I'd met her twice. Nice enough girl. Worked in marketing or PR or something. Always on her phone. It is quiet, I admitted. Right. So we were thinking, what if we moved in for a while? Keep you company. Help out around the house. You shouldn't be alone right now. I rubbed my eyes. The Navy had taught me to recognize tactical maneuvers, but grief made you soft. That's thoughtful, Marcus. But I'm okay, really. Gramps, come on. We insist. Besides, our lease is up next month anyway, and rent in Boston is insane. It'd help us out too. Win-win. Red flag number 1. I ignored it. Well, I suppose I could use the company. Perfect. We'll be there Sunday. Love you, Gramps. He hung up before I could respond. Sarah would have seen right through it. She always could read people better than I could. But Sarah wasn't here anymore. They arrived Sunday morning with a U-Haul. Not a small one either, the 16-footer. For 2 people who supposedly just needed a temporary place to stay. Gramps! Marcus bounded up the stairs, all smiles and energy. Chelsea followed behind, designer purse over her shoulder, barely making eye contact. "Hey, sweetie," she said into her phone. "Not to me." "Yeah, we're here. The place is huge. I'll call you back." I helped them unload. Box after box. A 70-inch TV. A gaming setup that looked like it belonged in Best Buy's display window. Furniture. Lots of furniture. Marcus, I thought you said, "Oh, this is just stuff from our apartment. Didn't make sense to put it in storage when we're staying here, right?" Red flag number 2. They took the guest room. Sarah's craft room. I'd been meaning to sort through her things, but seeing Marcus dump boxes on top of her sewing table made my stomach clench. "Careful with that," I said. "Those are your grandmother's." "Don't worry, Gramps. We'll be super respectful." Marcus patted my shoulder. Chelsea was already rearranging furniture. The first week was fine. They were out most days, Marcus at work, Chelsea doing whatever it was she did. I appreciated the quiet, if I'm honest. But then the requests started. "Hey, Gramps, can you spot me 200? Forgot to transfer money before my account hit 0. I wrote the check. He was family. "Gramps, our car insurance is due, and we're a little short this month. Just 500. We'll pay you back when Marcus gets his bonus." Another check. Sarah would have said no. I could almost hear her voice. "Gramps, Chelsea's mom is sick in Florida, and we need to fly down. Could you help with the tickets? Just 1,200. It's an emergency." I hesitated on that one. Pulled up my online banking to check the account. We'd been comfortable. My Navy pension, Sarah's teacher's retirement, the investments we'd made over the years. But watching the balance drop made me uneasy. "Marcus, this is the 3rd time this month. I know. Work's been slow. But my year-end bonus is coming, remember? I'll pay you back everything. You have my word." He had Sarah's eyes. That's what got me. Every single time. 2 months in, I noticed they'd taken over the living room. Their TV replaced ours. Their furniture pushed mine into corners. Sarah's antique side table, the one her grandmother brought from Ireland, was shoved in the hallway closet. "We needed more space for the sectional," Chelsea explained when I asked. "Your old stuff was kinda dated anyway. No offense. That table is a family heirloom, right? And it'll be safe in the closet. We're not getting rid of it or anything." Red flag number 3, 4, and 5. The morning of December 15th, I woke up feeling wrong. Not sick, exactly. Just off. Heavy. I'd had these episodes before, Angina, the doctors called it. Stress-related. Usually passed with rest and my medication. This time it didn't pass. By noon, I was on the bathroom floor. Chest tight, left arm numb. I managed to reach my phone. 911. What's your emergency? The paramedics arrived within 8 minutes. Professional, calm, efficient. As they loaded me onto the stretcher, I saw Marcus's bedroom door was closed. They were home. I'd heard them moving around that morning. Should we notify the family? One paramedic asked. My grandson's upstairs, I managed. Marcus. She knocked. Knocked again. Finally, the door opened. Marcus stood there in basketball shorts, hair messy. Your grandfather's having a medical emergency. We're transporting to Mass General. Oh, okay. He looked past her to me on the stretcher. Feel better, Gramps. The door closed. The paramedic's expression told me everything I needed to know about what she thought of my grandson. Massachusetts General Hospital, cardiac care unit. They ran tests, adjusted medications, kept me under observation. The cardiologist, a tired-looking woman named Dr. Patel, was blunt. Mr. Harrison, you had an acute coronary event. Not quite a heart attack, but close enough to scare me. We're keeping you at least 3 days, possibly a week, depending on how you respond to treatment. I understand. You live alone? No, my grandson and his girlfriend are staying with me. She made a note. Good. You'll need help at home. No stress, no heavy lifting, no excitement. Doctor's orders. I tried calling Marcus that evening. Straight to voicemail. Left a message. Called again at 8. Voicemail. Sent a text. I'm okay. At Mass General. Call when you can. No response. Day 2, still nothing. I called the house phone. It rang and rang. Either they weren't home, or they were ignoring it. Day 3. I was starting to worry. Not about myself, the doctors said I was improving, but about what was happening at home. Sarah's voice in my head was louder now. James, something's not right. That afternoon, my phone finally rang. Marcus. Hey, Gramps. Sorry I've been MIA. Work's been crazy. I've been in the hospital for 3 days, Marcus. I know. The paramedic told me. How are you feeling? How was I feeling? I almost died. But you didn't. That's great news. Listen, I'm actually calling because, well, Chelsea and I are throwing a little engagement party this Saturday. Just got engaged last night. Surprise. I couldn't process what I was hearing. You're engaged. Yeah. Excited, right? Anyway, the party's at the house. We've invited like 40 people. Chelsea's handling most of it, but we could really use your help with the prep on Friday. You know, setting up tables, moving furniture, that kind of thing. Think you can get discharged by then? My chest tightened. Not angina this time. Something worse. Marcus, the doctor said no stress, no heavy lifting. I'm supposed to rest. Come on, Gramps. It's just a few hours of setup. We'll do the heavy stuff. You can supervise. I don't think you understand. Look, this is important to us. To me. It'd really mean a lot if you were there to help. Chelsea's parents are flying in, and I want everything to be perfect. I closed my eyes, counted to 5. Marcus, I can't. I'm sorry, but I physically cannot help you set up a party right now. I almost had a heart attack. Silence on the other end. Then his voice changed. Colder. Seriously? You can't help with your own grandson's engagement party? It's not that I don't want to. You know what? Forget it. Just forget it. Stay in the hospital if it's so important to you. We'll figure it out ourselves. We always do. Marcus, don't bother coming home until you're ready to actually be part of this family again. The line went dead. I stared at the phone. Tried to call back. Voicemail. Sent a text. No response. Dr. Patel found me 20 minutes later, blood pressure through the roof, monitors beeping. Mr. Harrison, what happened? You were stable. I couldn't tell her. Couldn't find the words. My grandson Sarah's favorite, the boy I'd taught to ride a bike, the kid I'd paid for summer camp and college textbooks and car insurance, had just told me not to come home. They kept me 2 extra days to stabilize me. Every time I thought about that phone call, my chest would seize up. The nurses learned not to ask about family. On day 7, Dr. Patel discharged me with strict instructions. Rest, medication, follow-up appointment in 2 weeks. No stress. You have someone to pick you up? I'll take a cab. She frowned but didn't push. The cab dropped me at my townhouse at 3 in the afternoon. I stood on the sidewalk for a minute, just looking at it. Something was different. The front window had new curtains. Blackout curtains. I used my key. The door stuck. Tried again. The lock had been changed. I stood there, key in hand, staring at my own front door. The door I'd painted 3 years ago. The door Sarah and I had walked through carrying groceries every week for 2 decades. I rang the doorbell. Footsteps. The door opened 6 inches, chain still attached. Chelsea's face appeared. Oh, you're back. I live here, Chelsea. The lock's been changed. Yeah, for security. We had a break-in scare last week. Hold on. She closed the door. I heard voices inside, arguing. Finally, the door opened fully. Marcus stood there in a new suit I'd never seen. Hair gelled. Hey, Gramps. You look good. I pushed past him. Stopped dead in the foyer. My house wasn't my house anymore. The furniture was all wrong. The walls were repainted gray instead of the warm beige Sarah had chosen. Our family photos were gone from the hallway. In their place, modern art prints I didn't recognize. I walked into the living room. My recliner, the one I'd sat in every night for 15 years, was gone, replaced by a white leather sofa I'd never seen. The TV was bigger. There was a bar cart with expensive-looking bottles. What did you do? My voice came out hoarse. We redecorated, Chelsea said from behind me. The place needed updating. Where's my furniture? Donated to Goodwill. Most of it was pretty worn out anyway. I turned to Marcus. He wouldn't meet my eyes. You got rid of my things? Gramps, it's fine. We upgraded everything. Look how much better it looks. I walked upstairs, legs shaking. My bedroom door was closed. I opened it. They'd turned my bedroom into an office. My bed was gone. Sarah's dresser gone. Our wedding photos, our memories packed away in cardboard boxes stacked in the corner. Where am I supposed to sleep? The basement's fixed up now, Marcus said. We converted it into a pretty nice suite. You'll like it. The basement. They'd put me in the basement of my own house. I opened the next door. Sarah's craft room, except now it was clearly their bedroom, king-size bed, Chelsea's makeup covering Sarah's old sewing table. The quilt Sarah had been working on her last project was nowhere to be seen. Something in me cracked. Where is Sarah's quilt? Chelsea shrugged. That old thing? I think it's in one of the boxes. We needed the space. That was the last thing she made before she died. Okay. And it's in a box? Safe. We didn't throw it away. I turned to Marcus, really looked at him. Saw a stranger in an expensive suit, standing in what used to be his grandmother's room, showing zero remorse. I want you both out. Marcus laughed. Come on, Gramps. You're just upset because... Get out of my house. This is our home too. We've been living here for months. Because I let you stay temporarily. Not permanently. Not to take over and erase every trace of your grandmother. Chelsea stepped forward. Mr. Harrison, I think you're overreacting. We've made improvements. We've increased the property value. You should be thanking us. Thanking you? Yeah. And honestly, after everything we've done for you, keeping you company, taking care of the house while you were sick, this is pretty ungrateful. I felt my left arm start to tingle. Forced myself to breathe slowly. In for 4. Out for 6. Dr. Patel's technique. I'll give you 30 days to find a new place. 30 days? Marcus's face reddened. That's not enough time. It's what the law requires. 30 days written notice. Then you're gone. You're serious right now? You're kicking out your own grandson? My own grandson told me not to come home while I was in the hospital fighting for my life. My own grandson changed the locks to my house. Threw away my belongings. Destroyed his grandmother's memory. So, yes, Marcus, I'm dead serious. I turned and walked downstairs, grabbed my phone, called a hotel. The Fairmont across town had a room. I could stay there tonight, figure out my next move tomorrow. As I reached for my jacket, except my jacket wasn't there, They'd probably donated it, Marcus called down. Fine. If that's how you want to play it, we'll leave. But don't expect any help from us. Don't expect to be invited to the wedding. Don't expect to meet your great-grandkids someday. You're choosing to be alone. I looked up at him. No, Marcus. You made that choice when you told me not to come home. I'm just respecting your wishes. I walked out. The cab was still there, driver waiting. I gave him the Fairmont's address and didn't look back. At the hotel, I sat on the edge of the bed and called my lawyer, Robert Chen. We'd served in the Navy together, stayed friends for 40 years. He'd handled Sarah's will. James, everything okay? Robert, I need help. My grandson and his girlfriend are living in my house, and things have gone very wrong. I told him everything. The requests for money, the redecorating, the changed locks, the phone call from the hospital. Robert listened without interrupting. When I finished, he was quiet for a moment. Then, James, this is worse than you think. If they changed the locks and redecorated without permission, that could be conversion of property. If they forged any documents, which we should check, that's fraud. And if they've been taking money under false pretenses, that's financial exploitation of an elderly person. Massachusetts takes that very seriously. I just want them out of my house. We'll get them out. But we need to do this right. First thing tomorrow, I'm filing for an emergency eviction hearing. In the meantime, I want you to check your bank accounts. All of them. Credit cards, too. Can you access them online? I pulled out my laptop, logged into my bank, started scrolling through transactions. My stomach dropped. Robert, there's charges here I didn't make. Lots of them. Keep going. Document everything. $5,000 at a furniture store. $8,000 at Best Buy. $3,000 at a jewelry store. $2,000 at a restaurant I'd never heard of. Thousands more at clothing stores, electronics, shops, home improvement centers. All told, over $47,000 in 3 months. James, are you still there? They've been using my credit cards. I never gave them permission. That's identity theft. We're calling the police right now. Stay on the line. I'm conferencing in Detective Morrison from the Fraud Division. The next hour was a blur. Police report filed. Credit cards frozen. Bank fraud department notified. Robert working on emergency court orders. We'll get an emergency hearing scheduled for Monday, Robert said. In the meantime, the police will do a welfare check on the property, make sure nothing else is being stolen or destroyed. I couldn't sleep that night. Kept seeing Sarah's quilt in some trash bag, her craft room turned into their bedroom, my recliner at a Goodwill somewhere. Friday morning, Robert called. The police did the welfare check. James, you need to hear this. They found documents. What kind of documents? A quitclaim deed, transferring your house to Marcus Harrison, signed with your signature. My blood ran cold. I never signed anything. I know. That's forgery. The detective is getting a handwriting expert to confirm. There's more. They found evidence Marcus has been telling Chelsea's parents that the house is his, that you're just a tenant staying there temporarily while you get back on your feet from your wife's death. That's insane. There's also a reverse mortgage application in your name. Never filed, but the intent is clear. He was trying to extract equity from the house while making it look legitimate. I closed my eyes, tried to find anger, but found only sadness. Sarah would be heartbroken. Sarah would want you to fight, and that's what we're doing. Monday's emergency hearing was in Suffolk County Superior Court. Judge Patricia O'Brien presiding. I sat with Robert on one side. Marcus and Chelsea sat across the aisle with a public defender they'd scrambled to find. Judge O'Brien reviewed the evidence. The forged quitclaim deed, the unauthorized credit card charges, the bank statements showing systematic withdrawals, the changed locks, the photos from the police welfare check showing my furniture removed. She looked at Marcus over her reading glasses. Mr. Harrison, the younger Mr. Harrison, do you dispute any of these facts? Marcus's lawyer started to speak, but Marcus interrupted. Your Honor, my grandfather is elderly. He's confused. After my grandmother died, he asked us to move in. He asked us to help modernize the house. He gave us permission to use his credit cards for household expenses. Do you have any written agreement to this effect? It was verbal. We're family. We don't need contracts. Judge O'Brien looked at me. Mr. Harrison, the elder Mr. Harrison, is this accurate? I stood. Your Honor, I'm 65 years old. I served 23 years in the United States Navy. I taught mechanical engineering at MIT for 18 years after that. I am not confused, and I am not senile. I allowed my grandson to stay in my home temporarily while he looked for an apartment. I never gave permission for him to change locks, remove my belongings, forge my signature on property documents, or charge $47,000 to my credit cards. Did you give him the credit cards? No, Your Honor. He had access to my wallet when I was hospitalized. The charges began while I was in cardiac care at Mass General. She turned back to Marcus. You charged nearly $50,000 while your grandfather was in the hospital? For the engagement party and household improvements. He would have wanted. What he wanted is not for you to decide, especially not while he was incapacitated. She reviewed her notes. I'm issuing an immediate eviction order. You have 72 hours to vacate the property. I'm also issuing a restraining order. You are not to contact Mr. Harrison except through legal counsel. The district attorney will review these documents for potential criminal charges. This court is adjourned. The gavel came down. Chelsea started crying. Marcus turned to look at me, face pale. Gramps, please. We can fix this. Let me explain. Mr. Harrison, do not speak to the plaintiff, Judge O'Brien warned. Bailiff, please escort them out. As they left, Marcus called back. You're really going to let them arrest me? Your own grandson? I didn't answer. Robert put a hand on my shoulder. Let's go home, James. The police met us at the house. Marcus and Chelsea were already there, loading boxes into a moving van. A different police officer was documenting everything they removed. I walked through my house. They'd stripped it bare, taken the TV, the furniture, the artwork, left holes in the walls where they'd removed fixtures. The kitchen cabinets were open and empty. They'd taken the dishes, the appliances, everything. In the basement, I found the boxes with my things. My furniture, badly treated. Sarah's quilt, thank God, was there wrinkled but intact. Our wedding photos in broken frames. Mr. Harrison, one of the officers approached. We found this in their bedroom. Thought you should see it. He handed me a folder. Inside were printouts. Emails between Marcus and Chelsea, planning the takeover. Discussions about the old man, and when I'd finally kick the bucket so they could inherit. Real estate assessments of the house valued at $1.2 million. Retirement account statements. They'd somehow gotten copies of my financial records. There was also a draft email to an elder care facility, inquiring about memory care costs and involuntary commitment procedures. They'd been planning to have me declared incompetent. The officer watched my face. There's enough here for the DA. This is elder abuse, identity theft, fraud, and attempted theft of property. They're looking at serious charges. I sat down on the basement steps, folder in hand, surrounded by boxes of my old life. Mr. Harrison, you okay? My wife died 6 months ago. He was her favorite grandchild. I just wanted the house to feel less empty. The officer, a young guy with kind eyes, sat down next to me. My grandfather went through something similar. His own daughter took everything while he was grieving his wife. Some people see vulnerability and think opportunity. That's on them, not you. 3 days later, the house was empty except for my boxes. Marcus and Chelsea were gone. I spent the weekend unpacking, putting my furniture back, rehanging photos. Sunday afternoon, the doorbell rang. I answered it to find Detective Morrison and Robert. James, can we come in? We sat in my living room, my old furniture back where it belonged. Detective Morrison opened a file. Marcus Harrison was arrested this morning. He's being charged with identity theft, forgery, grand larceny, and financial exploitation of an elderly person. Chelsea Martinez is being charged as an accessory. Their bail hearing is tomorrow. What happens now? They'll likely take a plea deal. First offense, no priors. They'll probably get probation, restitution, community service, but they'll have criminal records. The charges are serious enough to impact employment, especially in finance. Marcus's firm already terminated him when they found out about the arrest. I should have felt satisfaction, victory, justice. Instead, I just felt tired. "There's something else," Robert said gently. "I've been going through Sarah's will and your financial documents. Sarah left Marcus a bequest $50,000. It was supposed to be distributed on his 30th birthday. Let me guess. He knew about it. He knew. The emails mention it. They were trying to get control of the house now because they knew the bequest was coming anyway. Greed, James. They saw you as an obstacle between them and money they felt entitled to." I looked at Sarah's photo on the mantel. She'd loved Marcus so much, bragged about him to her book club friends, sent him cards for every holiday. What would Sarah want me to do? Robert considered this. Sarah was kind. But she was also fierce when someone she loved was threatened. She'd want you protected. She'd want Marcus to learn a real lesson. 2 weeks later, the plea deal came through. Marcus pled guilty to reduced charges, identity theft, and fraud. Sentenced to 3 years probation, 500 hours community service, mandatory financial counseling, and ordered to pay full restitution $47,000, plus damages and legal fees. Chelsea took a similar deal. The bequest from Sarah's will was revoked by court order and redirected to the local veterans shelter in her name. I didn't go to the sentencing. Robert represented me, but Marcus sent a letter through his lawyer. I almost threw it away unopened. Almost. I read it standing in the kitchen, coffee growing cold. "Gramps, I know I messed up. I was stupid and greedy, and I listened to Chelsea when I should have listened to my conscience. She kept saying you had so much money and wouldn't miss it, that you'd want to help us, that we deserved it after everything we'd done for you. I know that's not an excuse. I know I hurt you worse than anyone's ever hurt you except losing Grandma. I can't take it back. I can't undo what I did. But I want you to know I'm in therapy now. Court ordered. But I'm actually going. I'm talking about what happened. Why I felt entitled to your money. Why I thought it was okay to treat you like an ATM instead of a person. The therapist asked me what I'd say to Grandma if I could. I'd tell her I'm sorry. I'd tell her I'm ashamed. I'd tell her I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to be the person she thought I was. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't deserve it. But I needed you to know that I know what I did, and I'm sorry. It wasn't enough. It could never be enough. But it was something. I sat down and wrote back. 1 page, handwritten. Marcus, your grandmother used to say that people show you who they are when they think no one's watching. When I was at my most vulnerable, you showed me exactly who you were. That person was someone I didn't recognize. The Marcus I knew was kind, thoughtful, honest. Maybe that Marcus is still in there somewhere. Maybe therapy will help you find him again. I hope so, for your sake, not mine. But I want you to understand something. Family is not a license to abuse. Love is not permission to steal. And blood relation doesn't entitle you to anything except the same respect you show in return. You took my money. You took my home. You tried to take my dignity. The only thing you didn't take was the love your grandmother had for you, because that died when she did, and even you couldn't steal from a grave. I'm not writing to forgive you. I'm writing so you understand the full weight of what you destroyed. Someday, maybe, we can rebuild something. But not today. Not this year. Maybe not ever. You wanted the inheritance early. Now you have nothing. Live with that knowledge. Learn from it. Become better. Or don't. That's your choice. But you'll make it without me. I mailed it that afternoon. 3 months later, I sold the Boston townhouse. Too many ghosts, too many memories, both good and bad. Bought a smaller place in Portland, Maine. Ocean view, close to the Naval Museum where I volunteer twice a week. I kept Sarah's quilt. It's on my bed now. The last thing she made, the last piece of her that Marcus's greed couldn't touch. Sometimes I think about calling him, checking in. Old habits die hard, and he's still my grandson, still Sarah's favorite. But then I remember standing in my own house, locked out. I remember $47,000 in fraudulent charges. I remember them sleeping in Sarah's craft room while I was fighting for my life in the hospital. And I remember that love without boundaries is just enabling. That kindness without consequence is just weakness. Sarah taught me a lot of things in 42 years. In the end, though, it was Marcus who taught me the hardest lesson. Sometimes the people we love the most are capable of hurting us the worst. And sometimes the kindest thing you can do for someone is let them face the full weight of their choices. I'm 65 years old. I have my health, my house, my memories of Sarah, and my self-respect. Marcus has probation, debt, a criminal record, and hopefully, eventually, wisdom. We both got what we earned. And you know what? I sleep just fine with that.